The developers.
Hi,
Oh,
everybody.
all right, I'll stop talking.
I turned off our private volumes for a moment, and just to say hello and welcome the folks that jumped in early here to have some networking and conversations with your peers across the world that are interested and involved in virtual events. So it's great to see all of you coming in here. I love the gold uniforms from the Laval team. Thanks all. Hi, Barua. Good to see you. Good to see Ophelia. It's great to see you all. And well, we wanted to encourage conversation with your neighbors. And so we're going to turn the private volumes back on here in just a minute. But I really want to encourage you that if you look to your left or you look to your right and you don't know the person next to you, when we turn the private volumes on, get up and go and sit next to somebody, introduce yourself, have a conversation, start off with, the usual, where they're from, where they work, what brings them to this event, and start the conversation, because that's the wonderful thing about immersive environments is that you can have conversations like this just like you were here in person. So please do get ready to socialize, and we're going to start this event in about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and if you're done talking and having conversations with all of your peers and with new friends around you, then you can always drop into the Virbela changing room and pick out Halloween gear, as some of the avatars I can see out there have already done. So in 2 seconds here, turning on the private volumes again, and we'll have some socializing, meet some new friends. 3, 2, 1.
Hi, Corey. Hey, Blair. Hi, how are you?
Doing well, thanks.
You like my costume? I went all out.
Very cool. Corey, is your mic working? Can you hear me?
Hey, Damien, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing
Good.
great. Seem to have
Oh,
a cat
I hear
on
you
your
now,
head.
Corey.
Hey, hi. Yeah, I realized that now. So be careful. Maybe he can jump on yourself.
Okay, all right, all right. I'll be careful. Thank you.
Damien, do you want to head to Maya's office with me just to meet the other panelists really quickly?
As you head out, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. That was awesome. We always love having you. That was so much fun.
Definitely, it was fun for me too, and love that outfit. You're killing them right now.
Thank you. I had to go all out. Halloween's one of my favorite holidays, so
That's awesome. All right, I'll see you later.
see you later.
Hey Dave.
Hey, well,
Sorry about that. I got booted from the campus.
that happened to me earlier. All right, I'll meet you back up in the seats.
Hi, Mara.
Okay.
Hello.
Joanne? I see you get your hand up, Joanne. Not sure why I can't hear you, but it's good to see you. For the congratulations. Hello, Daniel.
What's up, man?
How are you?
Good, you?
Good. Where are you joining us from?
California?
California? Very
Yeah,
nice.
Los Angeles. Yeah.
Los Angeles. All right.
Yeah, but I was born in Russia. I'm kind of like international student. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
very cool.
So,
Hi, Ian. Nice to see you.
what are you doing over here?
Yeah, just walking around, having a conversation with some folks
Do
here
you
and
know
there.
do you know what they're going to talk about?
They're going to talk about virtual events.
Virtual events. Because I honestly have no idea. I just
You just popped in the campus.
I popped out like last minute. I just find out like I got an email from my professor. He's
All
like,
right,
if you
well,
want to join, join. I was like, yeah, sure.
yeah, check things out. Well, thanks for coming.
Yeah, sure. Oh, you're one of the speakers?
I'm not one of the speakers, no, but I'm with Virbela.
Oh, so you created all this, like.
Yep.
Oh, that's nice. Like, how long it took?
We've been working on this since 2012.
2012. Man.
Yep. Well, I was actually in university at
Mm-hmm.
UCSD down in San Diego.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I have some friends over there. They told me that's a good place.
Yeah.
So, like, was it like, what software you used to create all of this?
Here, let's step into. Come follow me.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Luis, can you come in?
And when I get in the same blue line, I can start conversation.
We got put to the back of the auditorium, Laurent. We were on our teleport. Let's go to the front.
Okay.
Hey, Blair.
Hey.
Ryan, you get teleported to the front, and we got the back of the auditorium.
Yeah, no, I walked up here.
Oh, you did? Okay. I thought you were getting special treatment as things go. Look at all the conversations happening.
Yeah, it's
Isn't
great.
that fantastic? So Damien, when the circles, right, are people talking, but because we've turned on private volumes, every 4 seats or so is a private conversation space. And so all those kind of broken circles are just people talking, and they're broken because we can't hear them from here. But you can see all the different sort of individual conversations happening within those groups. If you get a little bit closer to the seats, you'll see the blue rectangles that are blocking off the seats.
Other people too. Thank you.
Is the group of yellow over here the Laval virtual fan club?
Yeah.
I can see it. I
They
recognize
look
a few
great.
of the names.
I love it.
Fantastic. Yeah.
We decided to create the event inside of the event.
I love it.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. Sounds like Daniel's got a little bit of background noise going on there. Where's Daniel?
Okay.
Hey, Daniel.
Oh,
I'm gonna just turn your mic down a little bit because we can adjust.
Yeah, do it. Go for it.
Thank you. All right. Much better.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, Kyle, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Okay. So, I didn't know you guys had private
How cool is that?
Oh, it's pretty cool. I'm so used to using EXP World, the other version. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I came in here, I'm like, I have everything set up right, but it's rare that you get why I might be a little confused because that's just not a common feature used around there.
No, I'm glad you asked because it's really a fun kind of way. When you look around at the audience right now, you can see people having conversations, next to each other. And really, this is one of the goals of having this type of event is to have people come in and meet new people. And of course, in a virtual environment, it's easier in Virbela to meet new people, but people still need to get a little bit of nudge and some privacy. So this really helps to get some of those conversations started.
Right, and what the reason why I'm here today is, well, I I help a lot online businesses and other things, and I'm a part of a nonprofit called Flow Film Festival, and we come in here every year, and we have little board meetings on your free campus here. But we'd really like to have a auditorium to show the film festival videos, and they wanted to see if Virbela could become a partner, this or that. But the sucky thing is sometimes when they say they're gonna show up, oh wait, she is here. Good, oh thank God. Her kid took her off the computer, and she was there. She was just standing there, and the kid started running around. I was like, gosh, I'm here recording it, and then Yeah, so what I don't know how to go about this whole ordeal here, and I don't know who to talk to. We're just looking for a nonprofit partner or prices or special rates. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So,
we can talk after, Kyle. I'll put you in touch with our marketing team, and maybe there's something that we can do sort of as a co-promotion, cross-promotional
yeah,
type of
because you'll be
activity.
on all of our websites, of course, you
Yeah.
know. Oh,
It'll
look,
just be a
this
fun
was
thing to do.
sponsored.
We can do it here in open campus and bring people in, and so I'll put you in touch. Let's see if Blair's organizing this event, if she can hear me. We're on spatialized audio, so she might not be able to hear me over here. Let's go over here. I
Right.
think she's
All
over here.
right. All right.
Hey, Blair.
Yeah, hey, how's it going?
Good. Kyle here is always working over at the EXP. Oh, hey, Marco. Kyle, this is Marco. This is Blair, and
Hi,
Kyle.
Marco and Blair.
Kyle
Hi.
works with a nonprofit that does a film festival, and was thinking
Awesome.
that'd be kind of fun to organize one of the film festival events here in open campus as kind of a co-sponsor type of thing, a fun activity. Might be something that we can invite, you know, our Team Suite customers in or private campus customers in to
Yeah.
check out as a social activity. So afterwards, maybe Kyle, you can sync up with Blair and
Yeah.
just talk through it and get some more context on it, and we could see if we can add it into some of our programming later this year.
Yeah. So this film festival just happened, and we're going to go ahead and do it again, and we're gonna be doing it in March of next year.
Cool.
It's not like we didn't want to put you on this year. It's just I think like you're a Virbela advisor, I'm the tech advisor for the festival now. So
Awesome.
they're moving forward, not being obsolete. So
Awesome. Well, Kyle, I'm going to get this event started because
thank
we're
you,
1
Craig.
minute away. It's great that you popped in here. And if Blair, if you can send him your email and you could sync up after, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks, Blair.
absolutely. I'll
All
send
right,
you a
thanks,
message,
Kyle.
Kyle.
Thank you, Craig. Hey, Blair. Follow you.
Hey, Ian, how are you, bud? Thanks for
Yeah,
popping in.
really good, Craig. This is amazing to see.
Isn't it great to see all the conversations? This is really the first time we've done it this way, where we've had just the private volumes turned on and encouraged the conversations. It's really incredible to see, you know,
Yeah.
15,
Yeah.
20 conversations all happening before the event. So
That's
let
amazing,
me give them the countdown to take the private volumes off, and we'll start the event right now. So
Wait
thanks,
till
Greg.
it.
Thanks,
Cheers,
Ian.
Craig.
Next time we'll have you as on the round table.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Listen, have
Yeah.
a great evening. Cheers,
All
Craig.
right. You too, bud. Maybe we should do a broadcast message to tell folks
Hey,
we're
Blair.
taking.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Cap, I think they just did one. So I think we can give the crowd a heads up that we're going to turn off the private volumes. Maybe we do a countdown.
I'm gonna do a broadcast message for that.
Perfect.
Gotta remember what my command is on it though. Go up to my name, that'll be easier.
I'm probably nervous to be honest.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Pleasure speaking to you, Mark. Man.
Well, nice talking to you.
Follow up soon.
Okay.
All right. Welcome, everybody. That was really incredible. We've now switched off the private volumes. So now, and we've put on what we call flat voice within this auditorium space. So from every place in the auditorium, everyone can hear each other. and that way that everybody, even in the back of the room, can hear our guest today on the stage. So if you can definitely we've put mute on for the audience just so that we can have the best experience possible, and we can have the Slido, slido.com. Go there to answer our poll and add in any questions during our conversation here. We really are excited to have this group here, and thank you all for attending and coming in and socializing for the first 30 minutes. It's incredible to see everybody from France, especially, as well as teams from all around the world. Let's do a shout out just in terms of where are people from. If you look in that public chat, you can see folks already saying they're from Atlanta and from the Laval team from France. Welcome. Ian from London, Ryan from Dallas, Damien from Denver, Damien being one of our honored guests today, DC, good old Milwaukee. Milwaukee's best beer ever. Southeast England, St. Petersburg. Hey, Sherry. Always good to see Sherry coming to our events. She runs a lot of our events. And Eleanor from Bloomington, Indiana. Breaking Away, one of my favorite movies of all time. Dartmouth, Massachusetts. Hey, Alex, our co-founder and CEO. Sao Paulo, Brazil. Welcome from Brazil. Pat from Dallas. Asma from France. All right. Netherlands. Well, welcome everybody. We're going to get started here. Please welcome some honored guests here. Really an incredible group of individuals and leaders from around the virtual events community globally. Let me do some introductions and then we'll jump right into it. All right, starting directly to my right, Laurent is General Director of Laval Virtual, Partners of Virbela for a long time now. And Laurent is active in the virtual reality and augmented reality ecosystem. I'd say more than active, really a leader in the space, and has been involved for more than 9 years. A specialist in immersive technologies. Laurent runs the Laval Virtual Association. We're excited to see some of the team here dressed in gold joining us. That holds the Laval Virtual Europe, the leading conference in its field since 1999 with more than 300 exhibitors and 18,000 visitors. They also organize the Laval Virtual Asia, the Recto VR So Festival, the VR Days in Amsterdam, the Ethics Conference in partnership with OUI France. Last but not least, the association manages and runs the Laval Virtual Center, an international hub for VR, AR innovations. Since COVID-19 has hit the world, Laval has had the success of the complete virtualization of Laval Virtual Europe 2020 and has been using the Virbela platform for that. Welcome, Laurent. Great to have you here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be with you today, and we are very happy to cooperate with Virbela from April 2020, when we had to cancel our physical event and to do it virtually. So very pleased to be here.
Thank you, Laurent. Pleasure to have you. Next to Laurent is Ryan Costello. Ryan is co-founder of Event Farm and currently serves as the Chief Strategy Officer of MemberSuite, which is Event Farm's parent company. Ryan has over 20 years of experience as an events producer and experiential technologist. He's executed events for some of the world's largest brands and agencies, including Google, Microsoft, JP Morgan Chase, Nike, during the Summer Olympics here in Tokyo. He continues to blaze new trails in virtual events, event space, and became a pandemic compliance advisor while leading the development of Event Farm's IRL event safety toolkit. He's a fantastic thought leader in the space. He's worked very closely with the Virbela product team in helping us to build out some of our new scenes and environments in support of events and activities. And Ryan is based here in Los Angeles with close to myself in Southern California. Welcome, Ryan. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Craig. Thanks for being here. It's always a pleasure to be with my fellow Virbela teammates and get to be in the platform, which I love so much. Very similar to Laurent, we became partners early on in the pandemic with Virbela, and so we've been doing this very aggressively at scale since March of last year. And at this point, collectively, our clients have put on, I think we're probably past into the thousands at this point, thousands of events. So super excited to be here and share what I can share on my experience with virtual event technologies and things that are going on in the event world. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Ryan. And then Damian Wright, it's our pleasure to welcome Damian Wright, Global DE&I Talent Programs Leader at Intuit. Damian is the passionate about igniting change in the tech industry. For 3 years, he served as the global co-chair of Intuit's African Ancestry Network Affinity Program, which focused on building a strategy to attract, retain, develop, and promote top talent within the community. Fantastic to have Damian. He's coming to us from Denver, Colorado today. Thank you for joining the panel, Damian.
Yeah, that mic button, it gets you every time. Yeah, so I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for the invite, and definitely amongst some great company, and really looking forward to the engagement from not only the panel as well as the people that spent their valuable time to come hear what we have to say. So thank you again, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Damian. Well, let's jump right into it. I think one of the things that is really incredible about the last year and a half of challenges created by the pandemic is that virtual events were thrust upon the world, and really there was a lot of opportunity during this change and transition, and really all the challenges brings about opportunity, and the opportunity to create innovation within the virtual event space. So I wanted to start off with hearing about from this panel, what is kind of some of the most interesting virtual events that you've either joined or planned on your own that really felt had an impact on the attendees and in your organizations. Why don't we start with Laurent?
Yeah, so I don't know if it is the most important one, but we have organized since April 2020 more than 150 virtual events, and one of my preferred events is a symposium that we had organized for the French government, the German government, and Japanese government on AI. It was really interesting because we were inviting people coming from the world, and we had to concentrate the time to operate this event so that everybody on the American place or on the Asian continent could attend to this event. There was a lot of conferences, there was a lot of attendees, and we had also to face language subjects. Japanese people especially are not very used to speak English or to speak French or to speak German, and we had to use translators to translate all the conferences, and it was really interesting for that. And I think that you know, in all the events that we did, there was small ones, big ones with more than thousands of attendees. This one was probably a very good example also because we had a strong relationship with the organizer, and we could operate and design the event with a lot of accuracy. So yes, it was very, very interesting.
That's so really, you know, having to jump into the middle of the challenges of globalization while you know, putting together virtual events has been something that's been really I'm sure a big theme of the last year for the Laval team in terms of not only being able to bring people together in a unique way online, but how do you facilitate either language barriers or different types of content in different languages there. Um, it, I want to come back to that, Laurent, because I think that's a huge point. One of the benefits of virtualizing so many different events is the access to such a broader population. It democratizes access to not only to experiences, but to people that can come in from anywhere and doesn't have the barrier of cost, the barrier to, you know, have a flight to Paris, although I'd love to have a flight to Paris sometime soon, in order to bring people together. So you're really giving access to different types of backgrounds and a stronger diversity of people to your events. And then really it's just a matter of really kind of finding ways to make the language barriers more easier to overcome. A side note, by the way, Laurent, we're going to help you there. In the next couple of months, we're going to be implementing speech to text within the Virbela platform to translate audio language into text. I would say that Q1 is a pretty safe bet for this before the end of March. And we'll be testing it out in open campus, hopefully in the beginning of the new year. So we'll be helping you out there in those efforts. Thanks for that story, Ryan. For you, I know you've you know, from having worked so closely together in the last year plus, I know there's a lot of probably different examples you can give. It might be hard for you to choose one, but from your perspective, in terms of what had the biggest impact kind of on you personally in terms of an event that you planned or you attended in the last year, and would love to hear your perspective.
Yeah, thanks, Craig. I think for me, I really pride myself on building and helping clients build experiences, not events. I really get a little passionate about that topic. And so when I define an experience, it's much more encompassing than what some people call an event, which I really got frustrated early in the pandemic when a lot of people just thought that an event was a Zoom call and that you could, you know, simply have a speaker and everyone would just sit there and watch. And they'd call that an event. And I got really offended, to be honest with you. I built my whole career on building experiences, and it really made me upset that I found a lot of my colleagues and contemporaries getting lazy. And it wasn't lazy all their fault. You know, there wasn't a lot of technologies out there at the time that could accommodate this because we weren't really focused on it. But, you know, in the last 18 months, a whole slew of technologies, including this one that I love so much, have really matured and gotten to a place where they actually can build experiences. So that's what initially drew me to the Virbela platform and the partnership. Greg, I was looking for something that would line with my methodology and mentality that my clients value, which is building experiences. And when you define experiences, it's everything. It's, you know, in real life, it's what it smells like, what it sounds like, what it tastes like. Is it hot? Is it cold? Are we indoors? Are we outside? What is the food like? What is the speaker like? What's the, you know, the elevator music? What's the lobby music? What's the lighting? What's the decor? What's the fabric on the seats? That's what an experience is. And so how do you get closer to that virtually? Well, you have stuff where you can have decor and design and elements and stage sets and different you know, what we call views, I guess, in this platform. We go to different rooms and we go to the conference room and we go to a stage and the beach. And you create an environment where there's curiosity. And why curiosity matters is because event attendees, you know, the vast majority of attendees go to events not to sit by themselves and watch a presentation. They go because other people are going. And when you're curious, you meet other people. And when you meet other people, good things happen. And that's what the whole networking concept. But that all needs to happen if you can explore. And I find the video-based solutions, and I call them all Zoom-esque solutions, really limiting on that ability. So when we first started partnering together, Craig, to answer your question specifically about one event that stood out, was really the first event that we tried to push that really hard. And we did an event that was a music-based event, and we pushed the technology way beyond what it was meant to do. And so apologies to all the Virbela engineers that may be in the room that had to work through that. But we wanted to put on a music concert and festival to create an element of surprise and random encounters. And we put multiple stages throughout the Virbela campus, out on the beach, on the rooftop, at the soccer field. And what we wanted to create was this idea that people would run around and bump into each other to see if that really was an engagement thing that was happening uniquely in Virbela as opposed to the stuff that was doing on Zoom. And it was amazing. It was just shocking. I ran into old friends. Many of my family members showed up. My mother, I think she's actually in the crowd today. My mother, I bumped into her by the stage. And think about what I just said. I bumped into her near the stage. And so that's something wow, that was really real life. And so I got so much feedback from the audience, and there were several hundred people that I knew and didn't know. People were texting me in the morning saying, Ryan, oh my God, I'm hungover, I'm tired. What did you do to me? And I said, what did I do? I just put on an event. And like, you're tired? Like, you sat at your chair and watched a computer screen, but you felt tired. And that was amazing. And so I'll stop there, Cap, but that's when I realized early on that this technology could be really interesting when it comes to engagement. And that's a critical part of experience.
I love that story, running into your mom. Kudos to your mom, also of being curious and joining into the downloading the Virbela application, because a year ago, the awareness of being able to get into an immersive space, was minuscule compared to the awareness now, particularly with Mark Zuckerberg talking about the metaverse in every earnings call, and Satya Nadella from Microsoft talking about digital twins on every earnings call. So like just a broad, greater awareness that immersive technologies are something that are much more commonplace in kind of professional life and not just an experience to be had in the gaming world is really come 360 in the last year, thanks to events from yourself and from the Laval team. Awesome story. Damien, for yourself, coming from not being an event planner necessarily, but really focused on programming and diversity and inclusion for such a well-known company like Intuit, I'm sure you've been invited to 1,000 online events like we all have been over the last year and a half. I'm sure your own teams have created programming. What online event stands out for you, Damien, if you'd share that?
Yeah, so I'll speak to it from an end user perspective. We've all been to a Zoom virtual event, and I'm sure that we can all say it's relatively vanilla, right? It's not, there's nothing bold about it. My first experience with Virbela was about let's call it 16 to 18 months ago. And I was completely floored. I didn't know anything like this existed. And to fast forward, a couple months later, I actually went to a conference where Virbela was hosting the experience, and that was a conference called Afrotech. And to be able to see the progress that was made from the first time I logged into Virbela, from something as simple as the avatars. There was no avatar that looked like me, and it was kind of hard for me to have a connection with my avatar for that reason. fast forward to the Afrotech conference, you see the avatar that I built, and I feel like it's more of a representation to me. We could put a couple pounds on them, and and it would be more of a representation. But like that's something that's important to me. And going to and you hit on this earlier, Craig. There were people who there are people out there that don't have the resources to attend a conference like Afrotech. It's primarily based in Oakland, and not everybody can get to Oakland. Not everybody can pay the hotel prices. Not everybody can pay the cost that comes associated with attending such a great conference like that. But when you say, now you can pay, let's call it $75 for a ticket to get on the Virbela platform and have, in essence, the same experience that you would as if you were in Oakland, was huge for us. And in addition to that, it gave access to talent that we wouldn't have had access to because they were on the platform. So I would really double down on what you said before, Craig, on how this really like tears down the walls, the virtual walls, and brings in a different flavor to the virtual experience. And I'm a happy Virbela user and used it in the past, and have very little that's negative to say about the platform.
Thanks, Damien. It's wonderful to hear about your experience at Afrotech. Similar to Laval, that was the first time they had to transition their event, of course, to fully online. And so it took a huge amount of planning, because that event, like the Laval event, was over 10,000 users. And so in terms of kind of transitioning people into a new platform and creating both an experience, an in-person type event while doing it online is definitely a different type of skill set. And so there's a couple things I want to unpack there that you bring up. One is the different skill set, and then two, the other issue you bring up is the avatar. Even though it's just a cartoon, it's a representation of ourselves. And in your case, it was really important that it was a close representation of yourself without the extra body weight. We're working on that, by the way. We're going to have different body shapes coming out in Q1 as well, and more of realistic texturing and skin tones and eye shapes and everything that can really cover any type of ethnicity and background as we upgrade. But so you've got that kind of humanizing the events, right? Which is kind of interesting, because video conferencing, you're literally there with your face on the screen, but it doesn't actually humanize the events, and it really actually kind of almost dehumanizes, as we see sort of video fatigue and even video dysmorphia, which is an even bigger challenge with having ourselves kind of on broadcast mode. So a lot to unpack there, but I'm going to first throw the question back to Ryan in terms of when you look at the skill set. You talk about creating an environment of curiosity and of exploration. How did you set up your team, Ryan, to kind of prepare clients to do this well, especially since it was essentially a brand new skill set to teach not only your own team but your clients?
Yeah, I think the first thing that after our first big event, I actually interviewed myself, and I asked myself that question. I said, what just happened? And I looked at it and I said, wow, this was shockingly similar to in real life, which actually validated everything I said when I first entered, for your first question. I was like, wow, okay, this is feeling right. This actually isn't dramatically different. I still needed a registration system. I still needed people to check people in and help troubleshoot. I still needed to have signage, and I needed a designer, and I needed, I needed speakers, and I needed performers, and and I needed people to be backstage, quote unquote, with them, and handlers and those kind of things. So when I looked back at my first couple production exercises in Virbela, I was like, this is the same. And that's exactly what I want. You know, I want the same. Now, to your point, Cap, there are a few things that are extraordinary with the technology specifically. And it's come a long way since 18 months ago. But just understanding how audio and video sync and don't sync, and latency and internet speeds, and how do you actually produce high quality audio if you're having, you know, concert music production. It got technical quick, but you know what's funny about our partnership, and I think you know this, Craig, is that a lot of our team is actually experts on your platform, not because I would say we're incredibly technical, because we're just curious. We just broke it or pushed it really hard and tried to figure it out. And what's
definitely
great,
broke it a few times.
well, I mean, broke it in a good way. We broke it,
Yeah.
you know, it was just like, it's a venue. That's what people need to wrap their heads around.
Yeah.
This is a venue that has a lot of cool features attached to it, but there shouldn't be a button in this software that says, make my event awesome. That's not how you should approach this. You should about, how do I make my event awesome with this venue? And there's some cool features on top of it that help automate things, that let people talk and do those kind of things. But if you really view it from a production that you would, very similar to, you know, a real life event, you don't have catering, so you take that out. But pretty much everything else, you still need those same people. And as far as what skill set specifically, you know, I found myself learning more about streaming content. I had not done a lot of that. So using these web boards that we're not using, you know, to stream content right now per se, but, you know, getting streaming. And there's, what's shocking about it is when you actually do some searching, there are plenty of free tools out there that play really well with Virbela. So we didn't have our clients buying Virbela and then spending a ton of money on video production. A lot of them actually just used basic off-the-shelf solutions, and we're doing some really cool stuff. So I don't know if that was helpful. I mean, my net takeaway, Cap, was that it was shockingly similar to in real life, and that's how we staff it still to this day. We still staff the team very, very comparable to what we do in real life.
Yeah, I think that's really I think important, is that this space, those of you who've embraced it early, like yourself and Laval team, was really about experimentation, right? Innovation. The first folks who jumped on board were those who really had an open mind and said, let's do something different versus just extending out, you know, more video conferencing licenses. And that was that technology, video conferencing, you know, really filled in a gap, but only filled in a gap temporarily until folks were really burnt out, and really we're seeing the effects of structured meetings and conversations all the time. I think the other thing that you've mentioned to me in the past, Ryan, is, you know, the platform is a canvas. You know, it is a kind of a beginning point to create that immersive experience, and I often say it's a community. So when we look at these events in this platform, it's really about giving your client a perspective that not only are you running an immersive experience, but you actually are building a full-on community for the experience. It's like building a, you know, almost a museum-like experience, because you can set up content in so many different places. You can have activity and programming. And I think one of the first things I suggest to somebody who's doing this for the first time is think about it as if it was an in-person event, but that all the barriers of infrastructure were removed. And so what a lot of times would be an experience where let's bring everybody together for a keynote. It's like, no, you know what? You don't need to do the keynote, you know, for your first experience. You can have everybody come in and like self-explore and self-guide, or do an incredible tour about this community that's set up. And a lot of our campuses are education campuses where sort of there's this natural sort of creativity that's kind of built into their campus experience of bringing university students in, or in a case of a campus we deployed a couple weeks ago, an organization of called Parents of Black Children in Canada. They launched and just created this really immersive, diverse kind of museum experience for this community of children. So it's really been fantastic to see just the different sorts of you know, spaces that are created just using the sort of the canvas here. Laurent, let me throw that over to you in terms of you know, when you look at this kind of campus immersive experience, what are some of the ideas, the best practices, the suggestions that you give to clients?
Well, first of all, I would like to confirm what was saying Ryan, is that to operate virtual worlds, and I will speak about the future of these virtual worlds. To operate these worlds, you have to have a team which is very curious, who want to try, to test, to experiment new way to live virtual events, virtual action with the companies who want to experiment the uses of these virtual worlds in terms of training, in terms of trying to settle a kind of unity between people who are living at home and working at home, people who are working in their offices, people who are working in co-working spaces, and those virtual worlds are a good way to create the harmony in all this. I would like to say also that one of the most important points is the engagement that you can have with this kind of tools, because of the interaction, because of the immersion, because of the movement, because of the embodiment, and all this is contributing to feel like in real life, and I'm sure that because of carbon impact, because of costs, the companies will progressively move towards this virtual environments. We are working with several companies in France and in Europe to help them to learn how to use this virtual worlds. And my feeling is that in the next few months, in the next few years, even if everybody right now want to go back to physical event, because it has been a long time without contact, without exchange between people, they are all conscious that the benefits of this kind of platforms will be permanent.
Yeah. I think those are fantastic points. I think one thing that I wanted to get the team's feedback here is, with so many different access to virtual events, and I see Charlie mentioning in the audience that it's about bringing people who exercise curiosity right in that environment. So the big question is, how do you increase kind of attendance into your events, and how do you bring people in who are kind of inundated, right, with lots of invites to content. I think I was invited to about 3 different virtual events this week alone that I wanted to go to, but was about, all right, what do I prioritize here while also doing a job and making sure that I didn't miss this event. So I want to get an understanding. Damien, we'll start with you. Like when you're bringing together a team and looking at how do you get folks to join, what are you seeing out there that in your field that is bringing people in, especially in consideration of video fatigue out there that's been affecting everybody?
Yeah, that's a pretty powerful question. And I don't know that there's a silver bullet for an answer. But as I think through it, the thing that comes like top of mind is there needs to be like a value proposition. You have to, like, in order to get people to come to your virtual event, what's in it for them? What are they going to learn? What are they going to experience? And we talked a little bit about this before, like early on in the session. What's going to be different that's going to want to make them engage with others? For example, when prior to us starting the session, we had the conversation circles. There were people actually networking in this event, and that's not even like the core driver. So you can tell people were truly engaged and wanted to know more about what was going on here, to help them again be curious, them learn, them bring something back to their organization that's gonna change the game for the way that they interact with their customers, their employees, employee engagement, whatever it is. So like that's like the first thing that comes top of mind. But again, I don't know if there's a real silver bullet.
Yeah, there definitely is not a silver bullet right now. To your point, it really is about, I think, we're in this phase where people really want to have better online experiences, and right now the content is kind of the draw for a lot of those experiences, or whereas the aspect of networking and connection, I just don't think a large number of people really see whether they're going to get value out of the networking experience, and maybe that's because so many people don't know that you can have a networking experience in this type of platform, and they've experienced sort of networking via a Hopin or a BusyBo or one of those technology platforms where they kind of connect you one-on-one, which can work in some cases and sometimes feels too structured. What do you think, Ryan, about that challenge of getting people into events and appealing to them, outside of just the content draw?
Well, I think when we talked about this a little bit in the panel prep, Cap, we broke it into two buckets: internal events and external events. And for those that don't know what that means, an internal event is my organization, my company is putting on an event for me as an employee, and I'm going to it. That's otherwise sometimes called a meeting. But big companies, they really turn them into events, sales kickoffs, all hands. Those can be quite a production. That's a little different beast because as an employee, you really have to show up. So it's a little easier to drive attendance and require it, even if it requires extraordinarily, making somebody download something and set up an avatar and those kind of things. So we're seeing really high adoption when we're talking about meetings and internal events, for sure. I think what you're getting at a little bit is now the external events. So anything that I have the option whether I'm going to show up, whether that's even if I paid for it and decide whether to go or not, there's an option for me to not go. I think that the tactics, I hate coming, I'm not saying that every virtual event needs to feel like an in-person event, but think about the tactics that work when creating an event. And I think that's what people forget. I always reference some example like a nightclub tactic. When you go up to a nightclub entrance, there's always a line. Right? No matter what time you show up, there's a line, unless it's no line, and then you probably don't want to go into the club. So what's going on there?
Right.
They are creating
demand.
They're creating demand to make this thing feel like you can't get into it, number one.
Yep.
And two, you're having to put some emotional skin in the game to wait so that when you finally do get in, we did it, we're in. And now I have this new emotion about coming into the experience. So I always equate that to be something very similar to what Virbela does, and that wasn't intentional, but by making this install an avatar setup, you all here today did that buy-in. You bought in. You didn't pay to come to this event, but you paid time. You downloaded, you installed, you read an email, you thought about it. You just didn't click a Zoom link. You actually invested your time and energy because you were curious about what this experience could be different. And when you got here, hopefully you're having I'm having conversations with my neighbor for the first time. I'm meeting new people I never would have met. I can walk around, I can see a beach. And all of a sudden, that fact that you bought in is now unlocking a better experience for you. So back to how you get people to show up, you really have to market this and think about those tactics that the club promoter does, which is, why is this going to be so cool? What is going to be behind this door? And so we coached a lot of our clients throughout the last 18 months on putting together teaser videos, as an example, Cap. And I know you guys have one too, and you've had customers that do it. I think maybe even Damien might have, your group might have done it. What should I expect as a user? Why is this going to be so worth my time? Give me a little teaser. What is this? What does the beach look like? What does the auditorium look like? What does the stage look like? And so these are just tactics, but we do the same tactics in real life. So that's just helpful hints there that we found very, very helpful over the last 18 months.
That's awesome. I think it's really good advice, and I think that one of the points that that Desh is making in the audience here is that there's also the barrier of technology. So the balance here, the points that you're making, Ryan, is that you've got to create that demand, that level of excitement, that connection to emotions and curiosity, right, above and beyond what folks have really been planning to with a lot of their sort of online events. They almost, to your point you made earlier in the conversation of just sort of like kick in our event planners in the behind to get their thinking caps on to really think about this as in-person type activities, and how do you get people through the door? How do you get them into the parking lot? How do you get them to get to that level of excitement and being creative about that type of activity? The technology piece as well is something that we're working on and keep on reducing the download size and increasing the performance and reliability. A lot of folks, what's really interesting from our experience is that, because they've never been in a multiplayer game before, they've never been in Fortnite, they've never been in Minecraft, they don't necessarily have that sort of context. And the example I use all the time with people is that, when I go into my 10-year-old daughter's computer or PlayStation, and she'll turn on Minecraft for us to play, and the PlayStation loads the application in about 3 minutes, and to her that's just totally normal, right? But to corporate event attendees, when our expectation is a video link that launches in 7 seconds, a 3-minute wait feels like eternity. Like, what's going on here? Or if there's other ways set up. So there is us driving optimization on that, and while kind of bringing people into understanding that this experience is different. So there's kind of two ends of that strategy that have to be addressed, and we'll address the technology side and continue to optimize there. Except Mark mentioning about Skype for Business, which takes about 17 minutes to launch these days. Laurent, your perspective on this question, as far as what is you're seeing with your client base, and what's bringing people in to the platform, what's creating the excitement, the emotional connection that helps your customers, as well as your own team who run so many different events to bring people in and cross that barrier of jumping into something new.
Well, internal events are quite easy for that because people are obliged to come. For external events, I will say that the communication before the event is important as much as in real life, and you have to communicate properly on that. We have faced during this pandemic period several events where we had to organize, to operate the event in a very short time. And each time that the client was, let's say, disappointed by the audience, was because the communication was not organized, was not done in advance, maybe with 2 months, 3 months, 4 months in advance. And then one advice that I can give is also to consider the warm-up and to start the event maybe 2 days, 3 days, 4 days before, or even 1 week before, to start to acculturate people to come to use the Virbela platforms, and also because with this warm-up, people will communicate on the social network, will invite other people to come, and will start to create a kind of buzz, you know. And then the third point will be on the contents, on the quality of the contents, on the dynamic of the contents. Of course, we are not organizing physical events like virtual events, and the rhythm of the event has to be much more dynamic. Even in the movement that you impose to the audience, it's important. One of the most important benefits of Virbela platform is that you can, of course, move, and moving you allow also serendipity. People can meet by hazard, and I think this is very, very important. Yes.
I love that point, Laurent, about movement. We work with a lot of educational organizations. Stanford being one of our longest standing customers, and UC San Diego and Singularity University, and there's concepts. I'm not an education expert, but the concepts that we are often seeing is, the different pedagogies around learning, and a concept around, movement and the activity, right, is a way that some people learn much better. And so the actual activity of moving from one space to the next, like you're in a museum, that you're not just sitting in a chair and watching a professor. And so a lot of the things that can be emphasized is just this sort of space to space engagement. And to your point, the serendipitous social engagements is what is really also a benefit. The act of people kind of working together. Even at one of our campuses, they implemented a yoga studio. And so, like, you're not doing yoga in your avatar. We could program that if we wanted to, but it's a place to get people together for a common activity of movement. And then they can play the yoga videos in the yoga studio and do it at home. And so really this sort of shifting a framework in terms of how do you encourage activity, movement, is really sort of that mindset shift that allows people to start to recognize, like, oh, this is how people will engage differently. And I think the points you're making are spot on. As we wrap up, I mean, this hour is just zoomed by with this conversation. Thanks, not ironically using the word Zoom in that phrase. And what I think we'd wrap up, we could take some more some questions from the audience, folks. Remember, you could use the slido.com website and put some questions in there. One of the questions from that Q&A is, how do we see virtual events moving forward from here? So Damien, what, from your perspective, particularly around the concept of accessibility and providing better access so that we can create a more diverse and inclusive access, what's your view, and how should the industry move forward from here and support that type of vision?
Yeah, so I'm going to put out almost like a problem statement, because like a lot of companies are moving to a hybrid work environment.
Yeah.
And how could we make that be true, to have virtual and in-person events that exist together? I don't know how that looks like. I don't know what that looks like. I do know one thing: virtual events do need to stay. Again, because of all the reasons why I named before. It's going to be about how do they coexist with in-person events, and the people who figure that out, the people or the organization that figures that out and does it well, that's going to be one of the next up and coming and emerging companies, because that's those experiences that Ryan talked about before in the beginning of the conversation, to get the look, the feel, the taste, the handshakes, the high fives, whatever it is, that needs to exist as well. So it's really going to be interesting, you know, over the next, let's call it 2 to 5 years, on how that morphs.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really great perspective. And there's the concept that you know, a multi-tiered power system in the office because of whether you get better access to leadership and to the power ranks within the organization by being in the office versus those that have moved into more remote locations. And so this concept, one of the things that we're seeing adopted here in Virbela is that the platform that we're in right now, Virbela, is a centralized, virtualized headquarters that companies are using, so that wherever you are, whether you're in the office or not in the office, you provide that equal opportunity of access to the platform and to people, because what you can do is literally create you know, ecosystems of collaboration and work. And it doesn't matter where you are. You could be in Japan, you could be in Europe, you could be in the US. And if people are kind of set up and are working with Virbela up as like a second screen, you can be present with other people and accessible, like quote unquote, in the office whenever you are, you know, on the clock, so to speak. So we're seeing a lot of that being implemented today, particularly with our clients at PwC and Deloitte. And on that note, PwC yesterday won a best virtualized event award from the recruiting department in the UK. They were one of our first early adopters. They've run dozens of recruiting events in the UK. So a little plug for our PwC client winning one of the best virtualized event awards in the UK yesterday. So it was really huge news for them.
And Craig, that was a softball that I laid out there for the Virbela team.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. That was a great setup and a great hit. Home run on that one, Damien.
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Well, with a couple minutes left, Ryan and Laurent, your thoughts on the future of virtualized events. Ryan, you go next.
Sure. Not going anywhere, and there's several reasons for that. Number one, this industry has injected billions of dollars in investment into it. So just practically speaking, it's going to take a while for a lot of companies to even burn through that if they fail. So this is around for a while, as just kind of a little bit of tongue-in-cheek answer. But the speed at which the event technology industry has got new investment is unbelievable. It's unprecedented for event market, and it's kind of crazy to see. So as someone that's been in the event industry for a while, I'm excited to see it. Number two, it's not going away because this has opened up new opportunities. And so platforms like this, we have people all over the world, you know, here on campus right now at our event, and that's of value. If we can continue to maintain a high quality experience. So audiences are going to be larger, and it will be more inclusive. And so folks that can't afford to justify the week on away from the family, away from home, and the cost of flights and hotels, now they can actually still participate in some capacity. Now, Damien brings up a great point of what does it feel like for a hybrid event, and that's TBD. No one's really owning or winning that conversation yet. But the point is, everything I've seen in the last 18 months is that most events I talked to, they're seeing more attendance from the year prior when they were in person. And that makes sense because it's more inclusive for the reasons we talked about. And then the third reason that I think is really compelling is the business data and outcomes that are just easier to extract from situations like this. You know, when we're all here, we're all being tracked. And as event organizers, I hate to say it, but we're in the business of data and figuring out what it means to our business or our client's business. And getting data, behavioral data, is very, very important. So platforms like this, it's incredibly easy to do this now. I don't have to invest in tracking devices and systems and all these, you know, hoops and ladders and things that you do a lot with a lot of money and logistics on site. And I can connect them automatically to my system of record. So presumably all 73 people in this room are connected to your Salesforce instance, Cap. You know, it might be, and so we're all now leads for you. That's like clicks of a button. And so now, as marketers that run businesses, you're going to start to see these systems connecting, and like, wow, this is really compelling. So those are the reasons why I think it's not going away anytime soon. There are benefits to it that we hadn't seen before. The technology is massively getting better, and the data back into our systems is actually compelling.
Yeah, really good points. Huge amounts of investment going into the video conferencing platforms out there. That's really incredible. Lots of invested in immersive platforms, but kind of late to the game almost in the sense that you know, there wasn't that sort of awareness there as far as virtual events. You know, when Virbela started 10 years ago, that's for sure. And you have Facebook launching workrooms, which is really sort of their answer to having a meeting while wearing an Oculus, and supports about 14 concurrent users at a time. Whereas, you know, our space is really about focusing on, you know, the desktop, you know, experience, what being immersive. So very different sorts of approaches to the market right now, and kind of fragmented, I think, in the immersive space environment. But really going to be very interesting, I think, in the investments in the next few years. Laurent, your view on the topic in terms of where you see the future of virtual events going?
Well, I think that you will have some different types of virtual events. The first one is because companies are conscious that they save time to the colleagues, to the collaborators with virtual events, saving time, saving money, saving carbon. All this will conduct the companies to use virtual platforms to virtual events for all the events which don't need the physical presence, you know. Then I think that thanks to the virtual platforms, such as Virbela, you are able to augment your physical event. You are able to reach other audiences, and to do that, you have to design your events in advance to be able to create very good quality on the physical event, because people will not come if there is no quality on your contents, on your physical contents. And on the virtual part, this can allow the organizers, the companies to reach really different audience. And then there is another trend on events that we call distributed events. It means that if you are a big company with people distributed all over the world, you can maintain the friendliness of an event, regrouping people by region, and having the virtual event giving the unity on all the events, and having a good way to deliver messages top down, and to create coherence and yes, coherence between the different physical events, you know. So I think I do believe that the success of all this is based on the ability of companies like Farm or like Laval Virtual with his branch Comodal to design events that are fully relevant.
Yeah. I think you're right on point there, Laurent. Really incredible insights from this panel today. I mean, I think anybody thinking about running an online event would have got a huge amount of inside knowledge and just expertise from this panel in the last hour. And probably we should use this as a an onboarding guide for all of our customers on the ins and outs in an hour of how to become a virtual event expert in terms of thinking and strategy and some of the tactics. So once again, want to thank this panel for joining us today from Denver, Colorado. Thank you, Damien. From LA, thank you, Ryan. From Paris, thank you, Laurent. Been a fantastic time. A couple things before we break up. We love to do a picture of the whole group of attendees on stage before we leave. So join us on stage for group photo. And then afterwards, we'll spatialize audio. So if folks want to stick around and have conversations with myself or with others in the audience that they met beforehand, we'll spatialize the audio and we can have those conversations. There's places on campus too that you can, of course, explore. We have our boating activity. So if you want to have a conversation while driving the boats, that's using that motion in campus to have conversations and have fun. We also have a built-in team challenger course called the Invisible Path, which is great to bring your team in if you have a team of 5 or 10 to bring in and use that space here in our campus. We deploy it for every private campus out there to use it as a built-in team building exercise. So that's one to explore. Bring your teams back in or explore that at some point in the future. So thanks to all of our attendees. Thanks to the Virbela marketing team. Thanks for all of you all that have joined us. And remember, you can post pictures from this event and on Twitter or LinkedIn and tag Virbela HQ on Twitter or Virbela in LinkedIn. All right, come on up on stage, everyone. We're going to do a picture of the whole audience with our attendees and get that closing snapshot.
All right, Craig, I'm going to step in as cameraman here.
Thanks, Marco. Gather around, look out to the back of the room.
All right, I see a few more folks coming up, so let's do a few shots right now. I'm grabbing, and then let's do a fun one.
Yes.
So if you guys, one of the commands, I don't know if we have this one listed, but I don't know if anybody remembers the World Cup from Brazil when everybody had those really annoying vuvuzela horns.
Yeah.
We have them in campus as well. So it's /vuvu like that. Oh, it was South Africa. Yes, not Brazil. All right. So let's do a /vuvu on 3.
All right, line it up, get ready, type it in, and then we'll do a countdown of everybody got it typed in. Then we're gonna go 3, 2, 1, enter.
Oh, that was awesome.